Hey there, traders. This is SheSeesProfit. This channel is all about making trading simple, clear, and repeatable. No overcomplication, no unnecessary noise, just price action and understanding how the market really moves. So let me ask you, have you ever been in a trade where you marked out your levels, price starts moving in your direction, it gets right there, just shy of your take profit, and then it reverses? You're left staring at the chart, wondering, how did price get that close and still not hit my target? Here's something most traders don't consider. The problem isn't your entry, it's not bad timing, and it's not that the market is being unfair. It may be happening because you're using ranges as levels instead of exact price targets for your take profit. And this is why I don't trade with zones or ranges. I plot exact lines because the market doesn't execute in areas, it executes at prices. So think about this. You meet someone. Everything feels great at first. The conversations are good, the connection is strong. You start dating, and for a while, everything works. But as time goes on, you start to notice the flaws. They're not a bad person, they're just not fully meeting your expectations. They get close, but not close enough. And eventually, things fall short. That's what candle wicks are. Wicks show where price went, but didn't commit. They represent possibility, not agreement. Candle bodies, on the other hand, are contracts. They show where buyers and sellers actually agreed on price. That's real price action. When you plot ranges, you're expecting price to give you everything, but price doesn't work that way. Most of the time, it gets close, decides that's enough, and turns around. That's why you see those wicks that almost touch your level and then reverse. When you plot exact lines, you're aligning your take profits with commitment and not hope. You're trading what price confirmed, not what it might do. And that small shift can make a massive difference. So instead of asking, why didn't price hit my level? Ask this: was my level based on real agreement or just possibility? Let me show you what I mean. Let's jump into the charts and I'll show you how I plot exact lines and why this approach changes everything. All right, guys, so we're here on the chart and we're going to practice marking our levels. So I am on the US Tech 100, which is more widely known as the NAS 100 or the NASDAQ 100. And these are the top US tech companies in the United States. And so as you can see, this is a bullish instrument, which means that historically it has constantly continued to rise. I do like trading NASDAQ. This is my favorite instrument to trade simply because it has a lot of volume in the New York session, which is the session that I primarily trade. And it allows me to get in, get out, and go about my day, which to me, it's important to me. I don't want to trade a 9 to 5 job for another type of job or another type of financial gain, but I still have to stay hours and hours on the chart. And I don't want to do that. I'd like to be done 2 hours max. I can go about my day and have the rest of my day. Okay. And so I like this particular instrument. However, the method that I'm about to teach you works on any instrument or um, anything that you want to trade. Okay. And so for right now, I'm going to zoom in. I am going to the monthly time frame, and I want to see where price is in relation to historical data. Okay, so I'm going to zoom in. It's nice and big for you guys. Okay. So what I'm looking at is I'm looking at current price action, which is this dotted blue line. I want to see where price turned around above this level and where it turned around below this level. That's all I'm looking to chart right now. So I'm going to grab a horizontal line. And if you notice, I have engaged the magnet icon. And what this allows me to do is I can lay my cursor on top of this body of the candle and just click it. And it automatically gives me the accuracy of the line. If you notice on the side, there's 25875.8. And if I hover over this candle and go to the top, in the purple, you'll see that the open of this sell candle was 25875.8, which is spot on. So I am going to mark this as my monthly resistance. Okay. Simple line MR. I like to keep everything neat on my chart. I do not like a cluttered chart. It lowers confusion. And the way that I teach, I like to teach clarity. I do not like to teach confusion. And so you'll never see me with a cluttered chart. Okay. And so I also am going to mark where price turned around below current price action, and that is here. And I'm going to mark this monthly support. Very simple, very clean. We're done for the monthly time frame. We're going to drop down to the weekly. So when I look at the weekly level, I do notice that there actually is a weekly level above monthly. Now, granted, the monthly level is stronger, but for all intents and purposes, and to get you trained and used to seeing these levels, we're going to mark this. So this is going to be our weekly resistance. Mark this with a line. As you see, it's color coded. And the reason I like it color coded is if I'm out somewhere on my phone, I set an alert. I like to be able to open my phone and know what level I'm looking at without having to go through a whole bunch of things. Okay. And so right below price, this monthly support, I do see another weekly support. However, I'm not going to mark this simply because let's just say we were looking for a sale and we were going to mark the monthly support as our TP because all these lines are, guys, are TP levels. Okay, don't let anyone confuse you. Give you a big philosophy about what these lines are. All they are TP levels. Okay, so let's just say we were looking for the sale. It makes no sense to have a TP here and a TP here because I mean that's just a small amount. Okay, so I'm going to mark the next obvious level, which is here. So this is going to be the weekly support that I'm going to mark. Okay. All right. So we're going to move on. We're going to go down to the daily. All right. So if I go to the daily, I do see another level above the monthly and the weekly resistance. I'm going to mark this just for demonstration purposes. We're going to mark this as daily resistance. Again, guys, you need to get used to marking up these levels, okay? And I do also see a level here for daily support. We're going to mark this as well, okay? Now, we have that done. We have our monthly support below it, which actually coincides with a daily support. So I think we're good here. We can also mark this, but it's not necessarily necessary. We will actually continue on. Again, we want a clear chart. Once we get to this level, we will definitely be able to reassess. You should reassess your levels every day. Okay, guys? So let's go down to, if you notice, you'll see that I have an 8-hour time frame, but I use that for a different type of analysis, not for drawing my levels. So I'm going to skip over that and go down to the 4-hour. Okay. All right. Now on the 4-hour, when I look at where price is right now, there is a level here. However, because we're so close to that on the 4-hour, I'm not going to mark that up. I see, zoom in a little bit. I see the levels above that are actually the higher time frame. So those, for all intents and purposes, have already been marked up. I see no need at this time to mark additional 4-hour resistances. So let me look. I'm going to look for additional 4-hour support. Now, if you notice, there is a 4-hour support here, but that comes back to TPs close together. I would look at this as the TP on a sell. This would be my first sell. Perhaps you want a runner that you would put here. That's totally up to you and what you feel like you want to do. But for me, I would not put my lines that close together. Okay. When I look at the next option for a 4-hour support, it's going to be this one. So I'm going to mark this up as my 4-hour support. Okay? But what I want you to notice about this particular line, and if you see that I have a 4K here because this is something that I use to identify a 4-hour key level. And what a key level is, simply put, is an area where price has a support and resistance. So if you see, this is served as support, support, resistance, support, resistance, support, resistance. So you can expect price to play around when it gets to this level. And so this is what I want to kind of explain about key levels. When you get to a key level, let's just say again, you're looking for the sale. Price is hypothetically reversed and you're looking for a sale. And let's just say, based on your analysis, you see price going to the monthly support as your TP, as your ultimate TP, right? However, because we know that this is a key level, we know that price will have a high tendency to play around at this level, okay? And so you have to mentally prepare yourself for that possibility. And the reason being is because trading can be stressful when you are confused, when you're frustrated because of something that you didn't see on the chart. Let's just say this wasn't here. And you got down here, you're like, yes, price is past the daily support. It's giving me the break and retest, and we are moving to the monthly. But then all of a sudden, price gets right here and it just starts, playing around. And you're like, oh my God, what is going on? Blah, blah, blah. And then you convince yourself that maybe, the sellers are really gonna step in and they're really getting ready, and then price just reverses and goes back up, and you're mad. You know, I don't want my student or anyone really to be frustrated when they're trading. We make trading too hard, guys. Trading can be very easy if you have clarity. So the reason why we have these lines are for clarity, because we won't be surprised when price starts to play around, and we might say, you know what, I'm just going to take my TP here and get out. Or, you know what, I'm just going to take a high percentage of my contracts off and leave a few runners to go down here, and then whatever happens, happens. That way, you're not so invested and you're not so frustrated that you just feel like, oh, trading doesn't work. Trading works when you prepare. So these levels are key. These levels are important. And that is the reason why I choose to trade lines as opposed to ranges for my levels. So if this has been helpful for you, please like and subscribe. Let me know if there's something that you want me to cover. Leave it in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. In the meanwhile, this is SheSeesProfit, and I'm wishing you profitable trading.
Trading doesn't have to be complicated. You just have to prepare for the move before the move. If you like this content, don't forget to like and subscribe.